The NES is great, isn't it? There's so many good games for it. You got Mario, you got Zelda, Mega Man, Contra, Ninja Gaiden, the list goes on and on. Of course, with such a large library, for every good game, you're going to have at least one or two bad or mediocre ones. Take this game, for example. Deadly Towers. Deadly Towers is an adventure game by Broderboon Software. This is a depiction of most people's perception of the game. This game is hard! Ah! This music is terrible and it keeps restarting! Now that's totally a fair assessment for anyone who might have played it for just a little bit of time and gotten super frustrated. Some games are just like that. But let's take a closer look at the game overall. The story goes like this. Prince Meyer's coming-of-age ceremony is coming up and he's all nervous about it, so he takes a walk to the nearby lake to chill out. A shadowy dude appears from the lake and tells the prince that the Devil of Darkness is going to invade the kingdom and try to take over. Obviously that's bad. The prince will need to travel to the northern mountain and burn down the 7 towers that will be instrumental in the Devil's takeover. After the shadow disappears, Meyer is reminded of the legend of Khan, which states that God will reveal himself to a young man and bestow great power upon him to defeat the Devil of Darkness. Meyer tells the king about it and he sends him up to the North Mountain to do just that. Stop the devil. Of course, this is all told in a huge wall of text right at the start. I mean, really, does a game like this really need this long and drawn-out story right at the beginning? I feel like some still images would have made this much more digestible. When the game begins, you find yourself at the start of the Northern Mountain. There's only one door you can go in, so guess where you gotta go? Once you enter, it's a mazy labyrinth of connecting rooms. As you navigate through, it can be helpful to draw out a map so you can find your way back to where you were going when you continue, which will happen a lot. It's very easy to die in this game, whether it be from enemies that enter the screen too fast to hit, or from getting hit and falling off the side of the mountain, or the ever-enjoyable spawning enemy point that happens to overlap where you're standing. The difficulty can be frustrating since it really only forces you to take the game slow. Even if you know where you're going, you get cocky and you die. Part of the problem is your sword, which is your only form of attack from the start, is so slow. You throw a sword and you have to wait until it leaves the screen before you can throw another. The slowness can make it difficult to hit quicker enemies at mid to long range, as their movement is often quite sporadic. One good thing about the attack system, though, is that when you hit an enemy, they're stunned for a brief amount of time. Using this to your advantage, you can stun lock an enemy and attack it rapidly at super short range until it keels over. All the enemies act this way, even the strong ones. This seems kinda cheap, but I guess it balances the fact that it's so easy to die, and the enemies just drain you. Though you start with 100 health, you can actually upgrade it by collecting these heart icons you find spread out through the different rooms. You can bump your health up to a max of 200, but each time you continue, you'll only start with your basic 100, and you'll need to fill the rest with hearts that occasionally drop off of enemies. Enemies also drop Ludder, which is the currency in this game, which I've not found a use for yet, honestly. The baddies in Deadly Towers are surprisingly varied. There's these balls, some worms, some weird sparkle things, fireballs, bats, scorpions, ghosts, all sorts of stuff. There's also larger enemies that block doors in certain small rooms. Though there's a bunch of different enemies, none of them are really drawn all that well. In fact, the game overall kinda looks like shit. Not really gonna sugarcoat it. One of the biggest complaints people have about this game, other than the frustrating nature of course, is the music and how it starts over every time you enter a new room. It's not composed very well, and you hear like the first 20 seconds of it more than anything else in the game. But yeah, there's actually a few different themes as you navigate the different areas. Every once in a while you'll step on a random spot and all of a sudden you're in a ruins type of area. I'm not sure if there's any way out of these since I just kinda wander around for a while until I die. This happens every time. The enemies in the ruins are stronger than the ones you see in other areas, and are often more numerous. Oh, bad room! So I'm playing through the game, and I think I'm doing pretty well. I've beaten 2 bosses, and yeah, I must be getting somewhere. And then... I'm just now in the first tower. There's 7 of these! The enemy difficulty here is ramped up a bit, and there's quite a few of them per floor. The safe way to handle this is to go up the ladder and get some enemies to spawn, then climb back down and kill them from the lower level. Since you can't attack while on the ladder, this is what I've found to be the best strategy. The big downfall of this method, though, is that if they drop a heart, you probably won't be able to go up there and get it before it disappears, which really sucks when you're low on health. This is about as far as I was able to get. Deadly Towers is not a very good game. Is it a terrible game? Well, you'd have to play it to decide that for yourself. But don't just play it really quickly, die, and get frustrated. You need to give it a fair shake. Go through the motions, die a ton of times, get your health up, draw a map if you need to, get the full experience. As far as NES games go, you could still probably do worse, right? Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, check out the rest of my stuff. Might I suggest the review I did on Mother 3, the Japan-only sequel of Earthbound? Or, if you're up for some variety, check out the video I did on lesser-known puzzle games. Feel free to follow me on Twitter to keep up to date, and check out my Twitch channel for gameplay shenanigans.